Good afternoon and welcome to the Rotary Club of York. It is June 24th, 2020. This is our annual Changing of the Guard meeting. Today, our opening song will be provided by Bryan Tate, who will perform Closing Time, which is a song that wraps up one year and begins another. And our invocation will be provided by past President Gordon Freireich. Bryan.
Thank you, President Josh. Again, I'm singing Closing Time in honor of President Josh's final meeting. If you know it, please join me. Closing time, time for you to go back to the places you will be from. Closing time, this room won't be open till your brothers or your sisters come. So gather up your jackets and move it to the exits. I hope you have found a friend. Closing time. Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. COVID-19 made us all go home. Courtney Bailey helped us meet from home. President Josh ruled us from his home, Closing time, time for you to go out to the places you will be from. Closing time, every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end. And now our opening prayer by past President Gordon Freireich.
Thank you, Bryan. The Rotary Club of York is beginning its 105th year. We thank Josh for his year as president and welcome Anne as our new leader. In biblical terms, that's an Exodus and a Genesis. At this special time, please join me in this meditation. There is a yearning within us to use our gifts for the well-being of those around us. Give meaning to our lives and substance to our hopes. Help us understand those about us and fill us with the desire to serve them. Let us not forget we depend on others as they depend on us. Quicken our hearts and hands to lift them up. Let us not forget to make our thoughts, works, and prayers truthful, and may they fulfill themselves in our own good deeds and those of the Rotary Club of York. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Gordon, and thank you, Bryan. Really appreciate you taking the time today on this Changing of the Guard to participate. Bryan, thank you for ad-libbing a little bit of that song. For those of you who aren't familiar, it's very likely that you know that Courtney and I are not typically in that song, but Bryan, thanks so much. So this must be probably, it very well is, the first meeting ever led by a president who wasn't actually at the meeting in York. I happen to be right now in Savannah, Georgia, and as I was walking around yesterday, I saw this really cool Rotary Club of Savannah symbol in one of the squares. And if you've been to Savannah, you know that there are numerous squares in the downtown area. They're very small pocket parks in the downtown. And the Rotary Club of York is prominently featured in one of these squares with the Rotary wheel here, and a very cool symbol of what Rotary means, not only to us as Rotarians in York, PA, but also to Rotarians here in Savannah, Georgia. So it's great to be with you from Savannah. Okay, a couple quick announcements today. As always, program ideas are appreciated. Reach out to past President Mike Summers with any suggestions that you have, particularly if those suggestions are good for an online format. And many thanks to Mike for all the hard work he's done over the last few months as we've changed up our programs repeatedly. And Mike, thank you. Quick reminder that our Rotary Means Business is back in business. The next Rotary Means Business is June 29th. It'll be an online presentation, and you can check out the announcer or the district email for registration details. Thanks to everyone who supported the Literacy Committee's book drive. As I mentioned last week, we were a few $100s short of our match, and with everybody's help, we were able to get over that hurdle, and we were able to collect the match. We ended up basically doubling what had been donated initially just in 1 week. So thanks to everybody who did that and participated in the book drive. I know the committee really appreciate your support and help. Quick reminder that the Rotary International Convention is ongoing right now as we speak. It started last Saturday, the 20th, and goes through this Friday, the 26th. Hopefully, a few of you have had a chance to check it out with all of the online sessions. It's great that RI was able to at least pull off this online format, considering that just a few months ago, everybody was planning to go and convene in Hawaii. But it's great that they were able to do that, very much like our club has done, switching on the fly from our in-person meetings to our online meetings. RI was able to do the same. So hopefully a few of you have checked out the RI convention and watched some of the sessions there. Last Saturday, Bert and Renee helped me send out a doodle poll to take everyone's temperature, no pun intended, on whether or not we should return to the Rotary Club of York for our in-person meetings, or I'm sorry, to the Country Club of York for our in-person meetings. The opportunity exists with the Country Club to return in July. We're trying to figure out what our members would like to do. Up to this point, about 145 people have participated in the online poll. We thank you if you've already done so. And if you have not, we still have about 150 more members to go to get to everybody. So please take a few minutes, fill out the doodle poll. It's a one-question poll, very simple to fill out and complete. The link was sent out by Renee and Bert last week. It's also in the announcer email. So hopefully everybody can participate and let us know. Of course, I think from a leadership perspective, everybody wants to get back to the Country Club of York, but we also want to do it the way that is safest for all of our members. And so we don't want to rush into it. We don't want to dive in if it's not time. And so any feedback you can give us on the poll would really be helpful as the leadership team decides what we need to do to get back to in-person meetings. And one final announcement today. You might have seen the email earlier today from Bert regarding a PPE storm drain cleanup effort. The City of York needs help in cleaning up storm drains, and our PPE committee has taken the challenge and is agreed to help out, but we need volunteers. So if you can, please reach out to Jen May. She'll be happy to connect you with all the information. It's coming up on Friday, July 3rd. Okay, so this is a great part of the year, and I'm really glad to get to do this before my year as president ends. We have two Paul Harris Fellow presentations today, and as many of you know, Rotarians can become Paul Harris Fellows by donating to the Rotary Foundation, but non-Rotarians can also become Paul Harris Fellows. There are over 1 million Paul Harris Fellows in the world, thanks to the generous contributions of Rotarians everywhere. For over 40 years, Rotarians have been supporting the Rotary Foundation by honoring others. And today, the Rotary Club of York is proud to recognize two non-Rotarians for their efforts made in response to the COVID-19 pandemic. The first is Dr. Matt Howie. Dr. Howie was integral to helping York County navigate the COVID-19 pandemic. He not only functioned as medical director for the City of York Health Bureau and public health strategist for York County, he also served as the Chief Medical Officer for Emergency Management Incident Command Center. Each of these roles in and of itself is challenging, and he managed all three with grace and integrity. He was hands-on in working strategies and tactics to address the ever-evolving needs of the crisis, and he was a great partner who was willing to share his wisdom, insight, and technical skills with our community, working to tackle complicated and sensitive issues. He was a voice of reason in a time when there was a lot of uncertainty and uneasiness in our community. We are blessed to have Dr. Howie working in our community, sharing his time and talents, and he truly represents service above self, and we are grateful for his leadership during this unprecedented time. And we also have a second recipient, which is the York County Food Bank. The York County Food Bank has been providing support for families in need since 1982. Its mission has been to fight food insecurity by using its purchasing power to buy food from a number of sources and then redistributing that food through 125 partner agencies. When the COVID-19 pandemic caused a loss of employment across the county, the food bank and its volunteers pivoted to provide the basic foods for those who were suddenly, and many for the first time, found themselves in need. In May and June, the food bank and its partner agencies provided food to between 15 and 20,000 families, a 400% increase from prior to the pandemic. The food bank expanded its direct distribution from its location on West Princess Street and established an East York hub at the former Kmart on Haynes Road. Many of you probably saw folks over there in line in their vehicles waiting to get food. In addition, pop-up food distribution sites were created across York County to reach as many people as possible. And the food bank is now establishing a grab-and-go distribution of fresh food, fresh produce, and dairy products at the East York hub to meet the ongoing need. And in recognition of the organization's response and outstanding work during the COVID-19 crisis, our club is proud to present a Paul Harris Fellow to the York County Food Bank for providing a caring and essential service to those in need. And now we have some brief thanks from Dr. Howie and from the food bank, and Courtney's going to play videos.
Good evening, Rotarians. Thank you all for honoring me with the Paul Harris Fellowship Award. COVID-19 has been a challenge for all of us in so many ways, in ways we never expected. The work in public health is ongoing and critical for us as a community in terms of coordinating our response. I appreciate the support that you all have provided and look forward to working together with you as we respond to this as a community. Thank you.
On behalf of everyone at the York County Food Bank, I would like to thank the York Rotary Foundation for selecting us to receive a Paul Harris Fellow Award. Due to the pandemic, the need for our services has drastically increased, and we are making every effort to provide additional food to our neighbors in need. In response to this increased need, we opened a second location, our East York Emergency Food Hub on Haynes Road, and we've been extremely busy working out of this location, receiving truckloads of food, sorting food, packing emergency food boxes, and more. Since the crisis began, we have adopted new ways of distributing food so that we can ensure the safety of everyone. One such example is our weekly drive-through distribution that takes place every Tuesday from the East York Emergency Food Hub. Every Tuesday afternoon, anyone in need of food can come to this location, pop open their trunk, and volunteers will provide them with a pre-packed box of food with items such as peanut butter, cereal, rice, beans, and more. They also receive fresh produce, dairy, and frozen meat. Everyone that attends this receives about a week's worth of food, sometimes more. We've also hosted pop-up drive-thrus in other areas of the county, grab-and-goes, and home delivery for our homebound individuals and our seniors that are in need of food. And we do all of this through our incredible network of partner agencies. These are the food pantries, soup kitchens, youth programs, and more. We all work together directly to serve those in need in York County. Together, since the crisis began, we have provided over 2.4 million meals to those in need. And volunteers have helped us pack emergency food boxes, donating more than 4,000 hours of their time. We've been hard at work, but we could not do any of this without the incredible support of our community and businesses and community organizations such as the York Rotary Club. Though businesses are beginning to open and things are starting to return to some normalcy, we know that many individuals will be long feel the effects of this economic impact. And though the road ahead is long for us, we remain committed to ensuring that no one in York goes hungry. Again, on behalf of everyone at the York County Food Bank and those that we serve, we are honored to receive this recognition. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Howie, and thank you, Jen, for telling us a little bit about what you've been doing. And thank you for all that you did in the community and continue to do because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Well, it's hard to believe. It's been an entire year since I was inducted as the president of the Rotary Club of York for the 1920 Rotary year. I was joking with past President Bryan before today's meeting that the opening song could have been "What a Long Strange Trip It's Been" by the Grateful Dead, because it certainly has been that. I couldn't have done it, though, without a ton of help from so many good people. And I'll have some thank yous in a short video that we've prepared in just a few minutes. I do want to specifically thank right now, though, our outgoing officers and directors. Past President Bryan Tate, finishing up his year as immediate past president. and board members Debbie Ashway, Bob Bacon, Ashley Etzweiler, and Patty Stirk. Thanks to all of you for serving on the board this year and last, and being part of my year as the Rotary Club. Thanks to everybody. I'd also like to thank all of our committee chairs who worked very hard this year, and in particular had to figure out what the heck they were doing with their committees over the last 3 months. And thanks to all of you for the work that you did in the first 9 months of this year, last active and involved and connected until we can get back to some amount of normalcy. It's been an amazing year. It's flown by really, really quickly. I couldn't have done it without a ton of good people behind me. And here's a short video with my message and some summary and highlights of the year.
Hello, Rotarians. It's been a joy and a pleasure to serve as the president of the Rotary Club of York this year. From a branding perspective, it's terrific to be the 22nd largest Rotary Club in the world. But branding isn't what makes our club special. Instead, it's the 300+ men and women that put service above self each and every day to drive positive change in our community. Several years ago, current District Governor Patty Rooney came to me and asked if I was willing to go through the line as our club's president. It came as a complete surprise that I would even be asked to serve our club. The fact that the club's past President's Committee considered me for the position was truly humbling. As I finish up this Rotary year, I'd like to take a quick trip back in time on what I thought would happen versus what has actually happened. Like any good past president, Patty didn't give this prospective president all the details of this position, but he sure sold me on the highlights. He told me that I would learn so much about Rotary and our club. He told me that I would be a great way to get to know so many of my fellow Rotarians, both in our club and across the district. And he told me that Bert and Renee would do all of the hard work. Technically, those things are true. So the journey began with some conversations with my wife Erin and my business partners. I needed to make sure that I could devote the time necessary to do right by our club. As someone in their 40s with 3 young kids who also leads his firm's York office, there isn't a lot of extra time in the day. I also needed to convince myself that I could do a good job and wouldn't be too nervous standing in front of a group of hundreds of business and community leaders each Wednesday. After a few days of consideration, I told Patty that I would do it. And here's the part where I started to find out all the other things that Patty didn't mention. Now, this was just about the time in December of 2016 that the Yorktown Hotel had closed and we began meeting regularly at the Country Club of York. So one of my first expectations was that we'd be returning to the Yorktown for our meetings sometime during my year as president. Strike one. Another expectation was that I'd be able to follow and learn from other great presidents who preceded me, people like Patty Rooney, Di Hershey, and Bryan Tate. Aha, got that one right. Call that a double. Something else I expected was that all of the people I'd be working with would get along well. Well, that's mostly true, but I came to find out that it isn't completely true. And you know who referees any disagreements in the club? Yep, the club president. Call that one a foul ball. Finally, I had no expectation on who would follow behind me as future presidents. Turns out that is something that the incoming president has very little say or control over. But it turns out that I lucked out. Anne Druck and Jackie Summers have been phenomenal colleagues, providing thoughts, ideas, suggestions, and guidance throughout the entire year, and the two of them have been a true home run. Now, I'd like to share a few highlights of the things that our club has accomplished during the 1920 Rotary year. Of course, no year in review would be complete without mentioning the one event that changed not only my year as president, but all of our lives. The one expectation that never occurred to me back in December of 2016 was that a viral pandemic would strike our nation and our world and profoundly impact our lives overnight. How could anyone have known that our Rotary Club would stop meeting in person for more than 3 consecutive months, and that we would have to scramble to connect our club through online resources? How could anyone have known that many of our members' livelihoods would be tested and forced to change into something that they never were before? How could anyone have known that so many of Rotary's core programs, like RILA and Youth Exchange and the RI Convention, would be canceled? But here's what I found out in the last 3 months of my Rotary year. Our club is blessed to be filled with amazing members. And to close my year as president, I'd like to thank a few of them. First, the Oberdick Women of Rotary, Bert and Renee. Without them, none of what we do as presidents would be possible. Next, all of the committee chairs that either agreed to stay on or step up this year. Thanks to all of you for herding the committee cats. Outgoing Financial Vice President Steve Klunk. For about the last 10 years, Steve has worked tirelessly to make sure that the books, balance, and the club is on the right financial footing. Past President Bryan Tate. He's been a wonderful mentor for me this year and a great ambassador for our club. Then there's Program Committee Chair Mike Summers. As a club member, it seems like our programs just come together each week. But as president, you quickly learn that Mike is the puppet master pulling all of the strings. Next, my best friend for the past 3 months, Courtney Bailey. She has been quietly controlling the mothership each Wednesday by orchestrating our online meetings. Next, new president-elect Jackie Summers. For the first 3 quarters of the Rotary year, Jackie and I sat together at lunch every week and developed a great friendship. She's been a great sounding board for so many of the decisions I've needed to make this year. And finally, my wife Erin and my sons Liam, Seamus, and Ryan. Thank you for supporting me this Rotary year, and I love you all very much. And now for my final word of thanks, and welcome to the hot seat, Anne Druck. The club vice president is really an unheralded role, but it's the year we each get to become as familiar as we can with what it takes to become the president. Anne, you've been an outstanding vice president, right there with me as we've dealt with the unexpected, managed the personalities, and smiled at the little victories. I hope your year as president makes you laugh, connects you to the world of Rotary, and opens opportunities. In the small box that I gave you before today's meeting, you'll find the Rotary President's pin and the club gavel. I hope you have a great year as president, and know that I'll be right there with you if you need my help at any point. Good luck.
The bottom of my heart, it's been a truly wonderful year. It's been a privilege to serve as our club's president for this year. And I'm so excited to have Anne follow behind me. She's going to do a fabulous job. And Anne, good luck this year. I'm right here if you need me. And well, I'm actually in Savannah, Georgia, if you need me for the next couple of days. So when I'm back in New York, I'll be right there if you need me. And I really look forward to working with you as you begin your year as president. And I believe Tom Donnelly is going to introduce you as our new club's president. Thanks to everybody for all that you've done this year for me. And I look forward to seeing everyone again as soon as possible.
Okay, Tom, we have time.
Thank you, President Josh. Anne, do you solemnly pledge to fulfill the duties of the office of President of the Rotary Club of York to the best of your ability, to advance the purpose of Rotary, and to abide by the Rotary motto of service above self? If so, answer, I do.
I do.
I hereby declare you installed as the President of the Rotary Club of York.
Thank you, Tom. Josh, on behalf of the club, congratulations on a successful year as our president. Rotary International's motto for the year was Rotary Connects the World, and you certainly overcame sudden adversity and rallied our team to keep our club connected. Thank you to you, your wife Erin, and your 3 sons for sharing your time, talents, and energy with our club and with our community. there is a virtual show of appreciation going on right now throughout York County for your excellent leadership. It is an honor to recognize you with the coveted past president diamond pin and a plaque for a job well done. Bravo, Josh.
Thank you, Anne. Really appreciate it. Been great.
I have a few other comments to appreciate you, Josh, later, but now I'd like to invite Rotarian Tom Donnelly to the virtual podium.
Thank you, Anne. When we finish singing the Star Spangled Banner, I want to say play ball, especially this year. And Anne, when you said I do in the pledge, I wanted to say, and Ted, you may now kiss the bride. I've been in touch with Ted Druck over the last few days, just talking about Anne's so many great qualities. And each of you are such unique and special individuals, Anne, and together as a couple, you're even stronger. Anne is a fifth generation York Countyan. She grew up in Southern York County and is a graduate of Susquehannock High School. Go Warriors. Anne is the daughter of Richard and Greta Miller, married to Ted for almost 30 years, mother to wonderful Shannon, who a number of us have been with at our club meetings, future Rotarian in the York Rotary Club. Anne's sister is Elizabeth Miller, and Anne and Ted have 7 nieces and nephews. Anne is an avid nature lover, and I'll leave to Ted some of the stories about that, including taking a Segway off, striking off into the woods on her own. She's a tennis player, having traded in her field hockey stick some years ago for a tennis racket. And she is a dog lover, and her Jack Russell Terrier, Winnie, is one of the joys of Anne's life. In 1993, I was fortunate to hire Anne to be president of our York County Convention and Visitors Bureau. And how time flies. Anne had graduated from Shippensburg University, was working in sales, and then became the executive director of Main Street York. And she was like a duck taking to water, heading up our Visitors Bureau. Did anyone get that? A Druck taking to water? Over 25 years, Anne led the CVB to become a powerful economic development engine for York County, and she earned statewide and national recognition for her team's results. In 2018, she succeeded Bob Woods as CEO of our United Way, and Anne is one of our key leaders getting our community through the COVID crisis. It made me proud when Anne mentioned to me recently that she became aware and interested in the United Way during our employee campaigns back at the Chamber and the CVB. I'm sure we will be celebrating many milestones during Anne's Rotary term. One great one is the United Way will mark its 100th anniversary in York next year. And Anne told me that she and her, quote, first husband, Ted, will be celebrating their 30th anniversary next March. Bert, knowing you, you probably already have it in the calendar, but we'll make sure we have a celebration that day. I'll finish by saying there are many ways to measure people. The golden rule, the 7 habits, and in Rotary, our version is the 4-way test. Is it true? In our 25, even 27 plus year relationship, I've always been able to count on Anne to tell me the truth, even when it wasn't easy to hear. Is it fair? Anne's daughter Shannon emailed to me that Anne has a God-given gift to see a problem, seek fairness, and bring people together to reach a positive solution. Will it build better friendships? Ted shared with me that even in stressful times, Anne is courteous to everyone and works hard to build a relationship. And is it beneficial to all concerned? So many of us know Anne, and we all know that she always works for win-win solutions. and you truly are a special servant leader in our community. Congratulations, and I turn the program back over to you.
Thank you, Tom. Very touching, as you can see. Rotarians, if I asked you who was Rotary International President the year you became a club member, you may not remember, but I'm guessing that you would remember who your sponsor was. And I can see from all your virtual heads nodding with me on that one that you do. Well, today I have an opportunity to thank the man who invited me to join Rotary. Tom, thank you for being my sponsor 2 decades ago, and thank you for your kind and touching words of introduction today. Now I have the honor of installing your club leadership. The 2020-21 officers and directors: Jackie Summers, President-elect; Glenn Miller, President-elect nominee; and Doug Berman, Financial Vice President. Jackie, Glenn, and Doug, do you accept and understand the charges of the office to which you are elected, and will you work with diligence for the betterment of the club? If so, answer, I do.
I do.
I hereby declare you installed, got it, Jackie, as officers of the Rotary Club of York. Congratulations to a stellar leadership team. Now to install our new board members. New directors are Courtney Bailey, Dennis Bachman, Steve Feldman, and Chris Topp. Courtney, Denny, Steve, and Chris, do each of you solemnly pledge to fulfill the duties as a director to meet the best of your ability, to advance the purposes of Rotary, and to abide by the Rotary motto of service above self? If so, answer, I do.
I do. I do.
Congratulations and welcome to the Rotary Board. Rounding out our Rotary 2020-21 lineup are those board members whose terms are continuing: Wilda Alessi, Diane Marino, Glenn Smith, and Phil Woods. Thank you for your service, Wilda, Diane, Glenn, and Phil. Congratulations to all. Thanks for bearing with me during as I get my wheels aligned with our technical outreach to you.
Looks perfect, Anne.
Okay, thanks, Courtney. Our club's annual transition of leadership could have been anything but smooth, especially because, as Josh said, today was our inaugural and hopefully one and only virtual changing of the guard. Thank you and congratulations to past President Josh, Tom, Courtney, Bert, Renee, and everyone who were involved to make this meeting a very special one. Tom told me years ago that all blessings are mixed, and Rotarians, today is certainly a mixed blessing day for me. It is an honor and a blessing to serve those who are committed to service above self. At the same time, it is a daunting proposition to lead the 22nd largest Rotary Club in the world. As we know, Rotary strives to build a world where people unite to create lasting change. It just so happens to be my passion, and it will be my passion as your president. Fortunately, we have resources at our disposal, and one of those is Rotary International with this excellent mission, and the other is the power of our many committees. So fueled by the power of our many committees, it is easy to cast a vision for the future of our club. And by doing so, to cast the future, the vital role that our club will play in the future of our community. But before we envision that future, let's reflect upon a successful past. First and foremost, President Josh, thank you again for your excellent leadership. board members had a monthly front row seat to witness Josh as he led discussions and fostered input from a diverse group of thinkers to achieve consensus. Josh hit COVID head on, leading our virtual board meetings, navigating our dues decrease, and keeping us engaged with valuable weekly meetings that grew to include the pledge, the song, service above self-recognition, business spotlights, and Paul Harris Fellow Awards. Thank you, Josh, for ringing true to your motto and keeping our club members connected. Clearly, Rona didn't get you down. Josh, we hope you're enjoying a well-deserved family vacation touring Savannah this week. Georgia is a long way away from Hawaii, which is where Josh and his family would have been last month attending the Rotary International Conference. As many of you know, traveling on behalf of Rotary is a true blessing. Our club leadership has the opportunity to attend an annual large club conference just for large clubs. So last October, Jackie, Burt, and I traveled to Tennessee to attend the large club conference. In Chattanooga, your three amigas learned best practices from fellow large clubs, and soon you'll hear why our key takeaway is even more valuable and timely today. We attended the Chattanooga weekly meeting, and retired Senator Bob Corker was our speaker. And you've heard the saying, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Well, Chattanooga ain't Vegas. So this is Jackie and me at a local establishment enjoying the restorative properties of libations. We're sitting enjoying the day, and someone walked by that caught Jackie's eye. So we said hello to him. He happened to be the twin brother of the president of the Chattanooga Club. So we snapped a picture with this gentleman. And I'd like to give a shout out to my South County fellow Rotarian. The Rotary Club of York is making history over the next 2 years, not just because Jackie and I will be your first back-to-back female presidents, but Jackie and I will be your first back-to-back new Freedom residents to serve as presidents. Yes, Jackie and I are living on the line, and that's the Mason-Dixon line, hun. We took our county line cred with us to Chattanooga, and in Chattanooga, we were blown away by Ron Harris. He was the vice president with Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Tennessee. Ron told us that diversity is organic, inclusion is intentional, and cultural competency is imperative. Ron's diversity training is even more relevant today with the state of our nation. Because today, friends, the United States faces three intertwined crises: the continuing coronavirus pandemic that has claimed more than 120,000 lives, the resulting economic crisis that has left more than 30 million people unemployed, and now the policing crisis that has triggered the largest wave of unrest since the 1960s. Each disaster disproportionately harms people of color. The way these events intersect is shining a spotlight on the disparities in how people of color are treated and valued. Tinderbox times like these require exceptional leadership. How will our club deliver exceptional leadership to our community? Rotary strives to build a world where people unite and take action to create lasting change. And Rotary also values diversity and celebrates the contributions of people of all backgrounds, regardless of their age, ethnicity, race, color, abilities, religion, socioeconomic status, culture, sex, sexual orientation, and gender identity. Fact is, a top priority for Rotary is diversifying our membership to make sure we reflect the communities we serve. The large club conference provided a wonderful idea to grow and diversify the membership of our club. We learned that in Greenville, South Carolina, they produced a Discover Rotary event. They hosted a breakfast and welcomed club members to enjoy invited people of color and women to learn about Rotary's service above self motto and the work of their club in the community. The president of the Greenville Rotary Club is a retired FedEx pilot, and we plan to host her as our speaker for a special presentation on this event in the fall. Lisa Barshinger and past President Di Hershey have agreed to lead our new Discover Rotary event. Members are welcome to join this effort and assist in planning our Discover Rotary event, which will happen early next year. As we look to the future, how will our club provide leadership to our community by advocating for diversity, equity, and inclusion? Our new Rotary motto is Rotary opens opportunities. How will we open opportunities for people of color in our community? I hope you will join me in sharing the opportunities of Rotary with people of color in our community. You can give program committee recommendations for people of color as speakers. You can invite them to attend our virtual meetings, invite them to serve on a committee, and invite them to attend our new Discover Rotary event in early 2021. Rotary has made me a better person, and it's an honor to be on this journey with you. Here is to an excellent year. Okay, Courtney, I thank you again for all your assistance, and I believe we have a poll coming up next.
Great, thank you, President Anne. Let's get the poll going. So everybody should see here in a second. The poll should come across your screen. If you could take a moment and vote, we would appreciate that. Here it comes. Now, while you're seeing that come through your screen, while we're waiting, Josh did want to make sure we thanked Rotarian Becca Hanlon and her firm at Our York Media for putting together the year-end review video. So thank you again to Rotarian Becca Hanlon. The video was amazing. We're going to give you another couple seconds here to continue voting. The question is, did you watch part of the Rotary International Virtual Convention? Either yes, I did, no, but I'm registered and I plan to before Friday, or no, I did not plan to. So if you could please submit your answer. We're actually going to share the answer on the screen in just a second. Okay, looks about 66% of the audience has voted. I'm going to go ahead and close that poll, and I'm going to share the results. And the results came back that 78% of people are saying no, they do not plan to attend or watch the Rotary International Virtual Convention. So Anne, back to you.
Okay, well, we've got some work to do in that regard, and thank you for everyone that is able to participate in the Rotary International Virtual Convention. We appreciate you sharing any nuggets of great ideas that you can with us. So next we're moving on to the book presentation. Our book is Game of Stars, and past President Josh will ask for your John Hancock on the book plate, and that will be presented to York Suburban Middle School Library. Courtney, thank you again for all your help. Last week I attended here at Bailey Travel and got to see kind of the wizard behind the green curtain and how much work Courtney puts into this, as well as many others. So thank you so much. We all look forward to seeing you next week for our virtual meeting, and that will be July 1st. Next week, you're in for a treat. Our speaker is fellow Rotarian Frank Dittenhafer with an update on Murphy and Dittenhafer Architects. Courtney, do we have any questions? I know we had a lot of shout outs and congrats for
shout outs that came through. A lot of everybody thanking everyone. Great job. And there's no questions at this time.
Okay. Well, thank you. My sister from another Mr., Courtney B., has been mixing tapes, and we'd like to leave you with a little ear candy from Pearl Jam. We wish you a wonderful and safe week. Take care.